Hey, how you doing? Pat here. We are going to be doing at least our first oil change on her 2022 Tiger 900. The dealer did the break-in service. We ran all last year on it. It had about a month's life left of oil change, or about 3,500 miles, which there's no way we're putting 3,500 miles on this in a month. So since it's late February, I believe today is the 24th, figure go ahead and get the tire pressures reset, get the oil change done. We've been having a very mild winter here in Ohio. Might as well get this bike ready to go. So if you want to see how to do a simple oil change on this bike, stick around, stay tuned, and we'll get into it right after this. All right, I'm gonna have to do a voiceover. The wind's gonna be too bad. These are 8mm bolts. There's 4 of them. You have the 2 here and 2 here. And watch out for these. They did not stay put, but they will go back in like that. But I am not going to put this back on. I'm going to be doing something else after I get the oil change done. The most important thing to do that I see all these how-to videos doing wrong, you don't ever drain a fluid of any kind unless you know you can refill it. So this serves 2 purposes. 1, you can refill it, and 2, if air can get in there, then your oil or whatever fluid you're draining is going to drain better. I've already wiped this area up a little bit, but if you hadn't, you want to clean around the fill port. That way if there's any dirt or debris, when you open it, I mean, you don't have to take it completely off right now if you don't want to. You can just leave it loose. And there is an O-ring on here, which I do not have a new O-ring, so I guess that won't be getting done. So because it's really windy out here, I am just going to leave that loosely attached. For the drain plug, we are going to need an 8mm Allen. Alright, this is personal preference. Some people like to fill the oil filter up a little bit first, but was not personal preference. You must lubricate this gasket, and I recommend you only do it with clean oil. That way if there's any contaminants in the old oil coming out of the bike or in the oil pan, you don't put any contaminants on here. This is not an oil debate, but this is what Triumph says to use in their bikes. I know there's a bazillion other oils out there that will work. I just choose to use whatever the manufacturer recommends, just because I'm weird like that. So you use what you think you should use. I already warmed the bike up earlier. This really isn't the right oil filter wrench to be using on this, but it works. Don't forget to clean it off the pipe, or you're going to get one heck of a smell later. And this oil only has about 2,000 miles on it, but it's a year old. Make sure when you do this that the old gasket did not stick on there. All the years of changing oil, I have only had that happen to me once, but it did happen to me and it almost caused a problem. There is a torque spec in the book. I don't remember what it said, but I am going to use the tried and true, that feels about right method that I've used a lot of times in the past. So forgive me for not telling you what the torque is. It is in your owner's manual. I have looked. I just don't remember what it is, and I'm too lazy to go look again right now. But with an oil filter, you don't want to go crazy tight. But anyway, the right way to do it is with the torque wrench and the proper torque spec. That's how you should do it. All right, the one thing you want to do, make sure you put the crush gasket, oops. Make sure you get the old crush gasket off the bike. Mine fell off after I took the drain plug out. And put a new one on is the right way to do it. So I have a brand new crush gasket. All right, make sure you have a nice clean funnel. And this bike takes approximately 3 liters, give or take a little bit, depending on whether you did or didn't do an oil filter, how much oil is left in the bike. And here in the States, these come in 1-quart containers, so it should take at least 3 of these and just a little bit of a 4th. Okay, I hope this shows up, but you can see I've got the oil set to the high level right now. I still need to put the fill port back on, get the funnel out. Once I do all that, I'll start the bike up, let it run for just a few minutes, get the oil circulating, and then I'll shut the bike off and let it sit for a while and come back and see how it drained back, because I've noticed this is pretty slow to refill, so it's not like you want to shut the bike off, look at the level, and then top off. Alright, you saw a minute ago the oil was at the high level. I started the bike up. Like always, the oil light flashes for just a second. I let it run for about 10 or 15 seconds, shut the bike off. We've been sitting here about 5 to 10 minutes now, and you can notice there is no oil in the sight glass. That's why you gotta just run it for a few seconds, shut it off, and then come back and top it off. I hope this shows up. I know the angle's not very good, but I have it right to the top line. I like to do it that way because I know this bike has always burned just a tad bit of oil, same on my Beamer. So what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to fire the bike up, let it get good and hot, and then we'll let her sit overnight and check it again the next day. The last thing to do right now would be to put the sump guard back on. If you got something out of this oil change, if you would, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. If there's any questions other than the torque values, because I don't feel like looking them up because I'm lazy, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.